News out of Browns camp in Berea where running back Kareem Hunt asked for a trade and Cleveland rejected his request. Hunt began participating in team drills on Sunday, this after previously only doing individual work. The former NFL rushing leader spoke publicly about wanting a new contract in June. Hunt enters his age 27 season in the final year of a team-friendly deal he signed in 2020. Our crew in camp with the Browns with more.
Jonathan Jones, CBS Sports, here alongside five-time Executive of the Year, Scott Pioli. And Scott, we're here at beautiful Browns training camp. Did I get it right that you christened this place years ago?
So when I was with the Browns in the early 90s, we were at the old Baldwin Wallace facility in Berea, just a couple blocks down the road. And we came in here and this place was brand spanking new. The fields are laid out the same exact way. We didn't have bleachers. It wasn't as fancy. That old building in the way back, I don't know if the fans can see it, where the maintenance crew goes and the fields grounds crew goes. That was Thomas Dimitrov's old office back there. Long story, but Thomas had to spend a season working the fields while after the World League had collapsed. So this place is amazing. And what people don't realize, it's always been hot. In Cleveland, Ohio this time of year.
Boy,
always.
It is a steamer out here. I was at practice yesterday and here at practice today, and the Browns. Let's get into football now. Obviously, the biggest question surrounding this team is the question at quarterback. They have their franchise quarterback in number 4 in Deshaun Watson. They just don't know when he's going to be able to play for them. Right. From your experiences as well as what you see from this team, I'm trying to figure out how they're splitting these one reps between Deshaun Watson and Jacoby Brissett. What's the best way to do it? What would you do in that position?
Because it's complicated, JJ, in the sense that they not only have to split reps with the skilled people, with the top skilled people, but it's playing behind the offensive line. Who's playing with the number ones? Who's getting the reps with the number ones and the number twos? How can you truly evaluate a quarterback that's running with the number two, not just skilled guys, but offensive linemen? It was interesting. I just had a conversation with Amari Cooper, and I asked him a similar thing. I told him he's been through a lot of quarterbacks. He's been in situations where quarterbacks have been hurt. And I said, Amari, you're in a situation now, though, there's going to be more than one quarterback this year. And those quarterbacks are right here on campus. What's different about your approach? And he just laughed and he said, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be complicated. However, we know ahead of time. We know the answers to the test. So it's going to be a challenge, but it could be much worse if they didn't know if and when this was going to happen. Yeah,
and the NFL should make its ruling on the appeal at some point this upcoming week, probably later in the week. So there should be some clarity, at least for now, coming up soon. We're going to get to the skill position players, but another sort of piece of news around this team. There's always news surrounding this team.
Always.
Running back Kareem Hunt has requested a trade. The Browns essentially said, no, we're not going to trade you. He obviously wants a raise here in the final year of his deal. According to sources that I talked to, it seems like this could all be figured out with a little bit of a pay bump. Maybe it's throwing some incentives in there, making sure that he gets paid a little bit more. First, your thoughts on that, and then also just your general thoughts on this running back group.
Well, Jonathan, you bring up a great point in terms of getting a deal done that might make him happy, because he's not happy with the amount of money he's going to be paid this year, but he also missed 9 games last year. So when you build an incentive-laden contract, you're building off of numbers that can be hidden on the cap. They're called non-likely to be earned incentives because they didn't do it the year before. There are a lot of smart people in this building. He's got a smart agent. They should be able to figure out something that says, okay, if you're going to pay, you're under contract. You're not going anywhere.
Right.
That can become a fly in the ointment with the team. But when players start to do that, they need to understand that they may be doing long-term damage to their ability to go somewhere else. So I think if he wants to find a way, the club should be able to find a way, again, to build in a new contract for this last year, put in some incentives that are non-likely to be earned, and pay the man. Because the worst thing that can happen to not only a player, but to a team and your locker room is if a player outperforms his contract so significantly, it becomes a problem in your locker room. You may think you're getting a deal, or you maybe think you're getting a bargain, but you're going to lose in the long run.
Yeah, and talking with some of his teammates out here, they're not too concerned about it. They believe that the Browns are going to do right by him, that it's going to just take a small pay bump, that they're going to get this settled. You mentioned talking with Amari Cooper. They have Donovan Peoples-Jones out here, but they're trying to figure out that wide receiver 3 position. What's your look at that skilled group?
Yeah, the skilled group is interesting because I don't know how it's going to evolve yet. We're seeing some things out here that we don't know. There's so much that's unknown. And again, we go back to, this is not the only way that I can say this is we're looking at this team. They don't know which quarterback they can go with. There's players that are trying to earn positions. So when you're looking at the receivers as well, and they're being evaluated and they're trying to compete with one another, they're all over the place also. But I think that they've done a good job of building the skilled people here, because to me, they don't need a great wide receiving core, because they've got a quarterback that's going to eventually be there. But what they do is have a running game. And to me, the best passing games generally have a really good running game. They'll be able to work off a play action. Jacoby knows how to run off a play action.
Sure.
And QB1 knows how to run off a play action. So the fact is, the receiving core doesn't need to be, I'm a firm believer in this. You know, I understand I was in Atlanta for a little while, but I was also in New England, where we had some very good receivers. Then we had some guys that became good because of the system and the greatness of the quarterback.
You look on the other side, on the defensive side, and they have one elite pass rusher in Myles Garrett, one very good pass rusher in Jadeveon Clowney. And talked with Myles Garrett earlier today off camera. He was telling me, hey, it's great to have Jadeveon Clowney here for another season, because they just know what each other is doing now, right? It's like one hand knowing what the other hand is doing. They need some help along the interior pass rush line. What do you see out of this defensive line? And then even looking at the linebackers, where at the Mike backer, they're trying to figure out if it's going to be Jacob Phillips or Walker.
Yeah, and with Myles Garrett, one of what I love about the balance of Jadeveon and Myles is this. They are both guys that go 100 miles an hour. Now, in the case of Jadeveon, he is going to be less is going to be more with him. The fewer reps that he gets, the more better player he's going to be. But what they do is they both have extremely high motors, and that's a difference maker for their pass rush. Where they put most of their money, as we know, is in the secondary. They put a lot of currency in there, not only financially, but in draft picks. So to me, a lot of their pass rush, you know, what's going on in the interior is they're above average. Okay. You know, in my opinion, the group is. But I think here's what I know about Kevin Stefanski, the head coach. Kevin knows what guys can do. He knows what they can't do. And he will do a great job of making sure that he accentuates the positive and limits the limitations with this defense. But I do believe that they're going to be a better defense as a whole. You know, I go back to some of our Patriot teams, and I'm not comparing the teams. We were a better group. I know we had some, I get it, Ty Law's in the Hall of Fame. Richard Seymour is there.
He had some dogs.
And he had a couple. They've got a couple of really good players here, too. But to me, it's more about the collective, especially when you play a defense the way that the Browns do.
Good deal. Scott Pioli, Jonathan Jones here, CBS Sports HQ.
Men, thank you. The Browns opened the regular season against their old quarterback, visiting Baker Mayfield and the Panthers. Cleveland is 0-16-1 in their last 17 season openers, the longest Week 1 winless streak in NFL history. 35 days until our first NFL Sunday.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.